Hello and welcome to the inaugural episode of Stars, Stripes, and Anfield Nights, brought to you by LFC Transfer Room. My name is Rigo, and today I'm joined by my fellow Americans, Drew, Colin, and Dan. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing? I'll kick it off to you, Colin. How's it going for you, bud?
Quite well. Good way to end the day here. Um, yeah, been looking forward to it all day.
Awesome, awesome. Definitely myself as well. I'll go top right corner. Drew, how's it going, sir?
Going good, Rigo. Definitely very proud to join the inaugural Stars, Stripes, and Anfield Nights. Glad you're hosting and ready for a night of United States support of Liverpool.
Definitely, definitely. And last but not certainly not least, my fellow another fellow East Coaster, Dan, the man from Boston. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm glad we're here. We can just speak in freedom units. We don't have to figure out what a kilometer is or what a kilogram is. We speak everything here in pounds and yards and miles. Just nothing but freedom units here. I will say though, Rigo, this is the first night stream we've had since the unfortunate saga that was Moises Caicedo. So I think this will be a little bit more low key and less dramatic.
Definitely. Yeah, Dan, that was an awesome night. I'm not sure if you guys can recall, but we apparently had signed Moises Caicedo to over £100 million pound deal, and we were celebrating that stream, and I was happier than a pig in slop. Or
I urged
and
caution. I urged caution. I was on there as well. I was like, let's wait till it's over the line. But
Well, I mean, going back, in my defense, I did say that, listen, it's been agreed. If they figure it out, like that's great. And technically, legally speaking, we had agreed a deal, but obviously because Caicedo didn't sign the agreement or his agency didn't sign the paperwork, that transfer obviously fell apart, which was sad. But listen, we live for the highs here in American football. Like that's what all this is about, baby. We're just here to have fun and vibe.
definitely, definitely. Yeah. Well, let me not relive that night any longer. Interesting comment here before we dive into the topics. Did you guys notice? And this is from Paul Lindo. Shout out to Paul. Hey, Paul. Did you guys notice how Drew resembles Mitoma from Brighton? Is Drew Japanese?
no.
No.
No, no, he's not.
Danish.
No, but he's got a swoopy forward haircut.
There we go.
He's definitely got the hairdo kind of down. He has a little long currently, but Mitoma doesn't have that facial hair like that Drew has though. So Drew got him beat on there. But sweet and a Dane. All right. So tonight's topics. Let's get you guys started off with Lloyd Kelly. Now, rumors are circulating that Liverpool are leading the race for Lloyd Kelly. They're willing to sign him in January, and Bournemouth will sell him as they don't want to lose him for free as his contract is expiring this upcoming June. Rumors also that Spurs are interested and had a £20 million offer rejected at the deadline. All right, let's see who puts their hands up first for this topic. Lloyd Kelly, thoughts, opinions. Should we be targeting him? PL experience, but doesn't really tickle my fancy. I'll go with you, Dan. It looks like Dan's ready to hop on.
I feel like you're just giving this to me because I feel like I'm the football guy, like trivia, that I know every player and I have an opinion on every player. Well, fun fact about Lloyd Kelly, we were actually looking at him, I believe, before he even signed for Bournemouth. I was trying to look up what he signed. He signed in 2019, so we were looking at him around the same time. I think we had signed Robertson over Chilwell because we were looking at Ben Chilwell at the same time as well. I mean, Lloyd Kelly's fine. I mean, he's a left back, left center back. One thing is though, he is not 6'3", as I think I got an argument with, I think it was Maddie or Charlie, when I said like no,
he's 5'11".
Yeah, he's 5'10". He's 1.78 meters. I know I said we speak in freedom units, but let's bring some European units back in, some tea and toast units. But to be quite honest, like he's not he's pretty much the same exact height as Robinson as well. I think he's a decent player, but you're buying a squad player, and it really screams a squad player. Kind of like how Simicast was, and I guess like if you're selling Costa Simicast, then yeah, he makes sense. But all indications is that Costa Simicast is going to sign a new contract, probably a 2-year extension with maybe a slight pay bump or incentive bonus, which tells me they might look to move on Robinson, which would be interesting if that's because I think Robinson has 2 years on his contract as well. I don't know. I mean, listen, it's a smart buy if you're looking for a left back for like a short term, like 6 months, or just someone that can come in and like make up the numbers for a while. But it's just a squad signing, and it's very much like pure Rafa Benitez, like 07, 08, 09, where like they're just spending like $5 million on like Andre De Sena or someone that's like just gonna fill the squad numbers. I mean, that's really my opinion on the matter. Again, I think he's a decent player, but you would rather just buy someone who's much better.
Yeah, is the main selling point on him, Drew, that he'd qualify as a homegrown player, obviously from England, and he's about to turn 25, so he's not a young pump either. So is that the main selling point, you think?
Yeah, it almost kind of seems like it's an in and out for Nat Phillips if Nat Phillips goes. I don't see him challenging for any starting position, and barring a center back injury crisis or red card situation, which we're kind of at the moment experiencing, he might not get any time. I looked at his stats on FBref, and he's got amazing stats for clearances and aerials. He's high up there as well, but he's not good with tackles, interceptions, or blocks. And yeah, like Bournemouth aren't known for their like defensive, nouns for the most part. Concede a lot of goals, but I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like, especially if Tottenham's bid was 20 million that got rejected. Is that the
yeah? Which is fairly high for a guy that's about to run out his deal, right?
Yeah, but they don't have a left back. Like Tottenham really don't have a left back. They have a left wing back, or like their young guy is like really good. What's his name? Ugar. He's like 20 years old. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he's really really good. But they really don't have like a traditional left back.
Yeah, Van de Ven is center back, obviously. More on the center back.
Yeah, they have him and Romeo playing as a 2.
And what about you, Colin? Any thoughts whatsoever on Lloyd Kelly?
I think it would make sense if it actually runs to the end of his deal and he signs for free. I think even, depending on how little they want, teams will get desperate if they think that, if they think there's really a chance that he will run the deal down, they might really get desperate and take like, £5 million or something like that. And for £5 million or, it's not my money. I don't care if you spend it. I don't care if you spend it. And that's like a very reasonable price, I think, to get someone who both Dan and Drew like really pointed out, is like, he's going to be a depth signing. He does at his current state. I mean, he would have to make a real jump in kind of performance level for that for him to be unseating anybody. It does make sense in terms of a homegrown player. He's still fairly young. He's got a lot of appearances, which Jurgen has talked. He gave that press conference where he essentially said, that what the owners want is someone who's 21 or 22, who has, 150 to 200 games played, and is wildly talented, and also costs, $20 million. So, he's played a lot of games. He's still fairly young. He's not terrible, and you can get him, for a really, really reasonable price. If anything, he might be more inclined to run the deal down if he thinks he can get a bump in pay. So if we can do that, then sure. But I don't know that we need to be spending 20 on him instead of 20 on someone else.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. On a free come next June, it makes a ton of sense. Having a left-footed center back option that's homegrown as well, 25 years old, currently only making around 30,000 per week, which is pretty darn low. Especially,
you could double his wages, and it still is like very low.
Yeah, I mean, but obviously the expectation for him, at least coming into this, would be, hey, I'm here to make numbers and keep the quad competitive, but I shouldn't foresee that much game time, right?
Yeah, and actually, the correction for Tottenham, they do have one left back, and they probably would sign him as cover as well. I was trying to remember his name. He's Italian, but he's really good. Manuel. I'm trying to let me pull up his name real quick. Just so
Oh yeah, they signed him when
yeah,
it's
Udogi.
yeah, obviously.
Udogi. Yeah, he's
Yes,
really
yes, yes,
actually
yes.
really good talent as well. Like, to be quite honest, though, honestly, I trust Jurgen to sign anybody and make them good. Everyone's like worried about Wataru Endo, but I'm like Jurgen knows what he's doing usually with most players that we sign. Like, very rarely do we miss, and usually we only miss on players. We only miss on players that are like injury prone. Like Kabak got injured a lot, or like with Ben Davies, like he got signed and then he was like, I'm just gonna play the youth players as well. But Klopp's usually pretty good at getting the best out of players, and if we get him for free or for 10 mil, like great. He fills a hole, but I wouldn't expect the world from him. Granted, he could surprise me, but I don't see any legs in this, especially when like we know they wanted someone like Levi Colwell, so we know they're looking for someone with huge upside, and that does
Yeah.
not avoid Kelly right now.
Yeah. I think we're consensus is at least from the group on a free. Yeah. But apart from that, bye Lloyd. All right. As always, your reminder here to make sure to click that like button and that subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously here on LOC Transfer Room. And obviously, we want that engagement for this brand spanking new stream for you guys. Next topic of discussion, and this is brought to you by Dean Jones, stating that Celtic will go in for Callum Kelleher and that they were in contact with Liverpool before the window closed. Kelleher is set to be keen on the deal. Now, surprising, right? We all expected Kelleher to move this summer, and I'm guessing we did not get an offer that would meet our valuation for him, as well as how valuable he is to the squad if Allison were to go down. Thoughts on the matter? First of all, surprised he didn't move, and second of all, do you think Celtic is a good move for him? Top right corner, Drew.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that he didn't move, but I'm wondering if he didn't because Jurgen promised him Europa League games. I think that's going to be really interesting to see if Allison lines up or if it's going to be Kelleher in that competition, because that could be a reason for him to stay. Like, just the odd FA Cup or, League Cup game wouldn't, in my mind, be enough for him to stay for this year. But if Klopp's just like, you're going to get a majority of the Europa League games, then maybe that's something he's interested in doing, getting some more European experience. Because I know as in the Champions League, he hasn't had many outings, the odd game that didn't really matter, odd dead rubber game. But I'm wondering if Klopp puts him out in the Europa League. Otherwise, it's an interesting one because I think he probably should go, as much as I don't want him to go, and I would hate, like, just literally have nightmares if Adrian was our backup goalkeeper. Don't even want to think about it. But Celtic would be a good destination for him, like a good next move. I think
He has a buddy there already. That's where we carted off Nat Phillips to.
Yeah, like I think he could do. Like, he'd do very well there, and I think he'd do very well for most Premier League sides. But that could be a good side to get in. First team football regularly. Celtics in European competitions, and maybe just the right next move for him before he makes a bigger jump. But I was surprised to see him stay. I think that'd be a good move for him, depending on what he wants for himself. But I'm also curious to see how much game time he gets this year.
And Colin, and thank you, Drew, for that. And Colin,
Yeah.
The year before, not last year, Kelleher had plenty of time, plenty of game time. He pretty much took over all of our extraneous tournaments, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, leading us to trophies for those. It wasn't that same case last season. Last season, Allison, again, he states he wants to play every match. and pretty much played every match apart from a couple of appearances from Kelleher. Is this the only way? Like, if Kelleher doesn't move now, like, will he ever get like a real good move, considering he's not really showing his talent?
I think he will. He's like around the 24, 25 age, isn't he?
24. He's 24 years old.
So that's a very reasonable age, I think, for goalkeepers. Like I don't think it's it's. I'm not being blasphemous saying that like goalkeepers certainly peak later, and so this is not like it's not like he's just too old to get a move. I think, as Drew rightly pointed, I think that would be truly a great move for him. And if he has the opportunity and they're willing to pay whatever Liverpool decide that he's worth, and we know there's a good relationship between the clubs. The clubs have a good communication. These are clubs that have historically been very friendly with each other and are willing to do business with each other. So all the signs point to that being feasible, doable, and all sides really seem like they could get it really done. And I think that would be a great place for him to like really cement himself and be able to put like great tape down as a bona fide number one. Like he really is in command of a team and is able to take the games. They regularly are playing in top European competitions. I mean, certainly in the group stage, haven't really progressed so much. But I think that's a great level. And I think it would be an amazing place for him to, even if he's only there for a year or 2 years, for him to prove the level that I think we all kind of can see from him, or can certainly see where his ceiling would be. I think that if there is validity to that rumor, I think that is something that gets done long term.
So Colin thinks a good move for him. Drew thinks a good move for him. Dan, David Raya, obviously went on a loan to Arsenal, and I believe they have an agreement hashed out for a fee for next year, right?
Yeah, they did. It's an obligation.
So around at least 30, right, or close to 40.
I think it's like 35. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 27. Okay.
So
the total will be 30 million. So it's a 3 million loan deal that they're paying Brentford, and then it'll be 27 if they buy him.
So, in your opinion, is David Raya that much better than Callum Kelleher?
I don't think David Raya, in terms of like his basic skill set, is that much better than Caoimhin Kelleher. I think the biggest thing with Caoimhin Kelleher, the biggest was just game time. So I was actually looking back at stats. Do you guys know how old was when Alisson started at Roma? Like, so when Roma bought him, he was backing up Wojciech Szczesny. You might know how old he was when he was starting at Roma. When we saw world-class Alisson, you might know.
He was like 24, wasn't he? 25.
I'd say Kelleher's age now.
Yeah, so he was in Kelleher's 24, and then we bought him at 26.
Goalies age like wine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Colin hit the nail on the head here. I think Caoimhin Kelleher can get a move even if he runs out his contract. I think it's more the question of, can Liverpool sell him for value is essentially the question. Like, Kelleher will get a job anywhere. It just depends on will Liverpool get a fee or not. I think it's a great move to go to Celtic. One, because you're going to play Europe. Two, it's a good crowd. Three, he's going to play with probably the best team in Scotland. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, let me phrase that. The best team in Scotland, most likely, unless Michael Beale does something amazing with Rangers, and it looks like he's probably going to get sacked by Rangers, sadly, former Liverpool coach and all that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're really that big of a difference in skill levels. I think actually Caoimhin Kelleher might be the best number two in the Prem. Some people may disagree with me, but I honestly think he is. I actually think 20 million is actually underpaying Caoimhin Kelleher, considering what Manchester City's like fourth choice youth goalkeeper went to like Burnley for like, what was it, 30 or something? It was something criminal. Like Vincent Kompany's helping like fund like
he went for 20. I thought 20. Was it that as high as 30? I thought it was around 20.
Yeah. Maybe it was 20. I'm just, but like Vincent Kompany is single-handedly trying to keep Man City from breaching FFP ever again. For those youth players, like he has experience, cup experience. He scored literally the winning penalty in like the Carabao Cup, which is something. Some people don't rate the cup as well. And I think that what we've seen with the promotion of I was trying to look at the Czech player we have on our roster, Jaros, and I think Pitaluga's
Luga seems closer, right?
Yeah, so like they both seem on there, but Jaros was the third goalkeeper. It wasn't Adrian, which tells me that we're going to probably see games with Kelleher starting and Jaros backing up with Allison, like maybe traveling or staying at Liverpool with the team. But I think he'll travel with the team. He just won't play. Yeah, and I mean, like I think if Liverpool can get 20 to 25, it's a great deal. If you can get more, even better. But they should hold out for 20 million. Like for a goalkeeper, as Kelleher's potential and quality, and the fact that
trophy-winning goalkeeper, been training with world-class goalkeeper at his side, world-class goalkeeping coaches,
and a full international. He's a full Ireland international. He's going to be Ireland's starting goalkeeper when they win the Euros with Evan Ferguson scoring like 40 million goals. I think it's going to happen, but get that money, and like I wish Queeve and Kelleher all the best because he's been with us for so long, and I just want him to have a successful career at this point.
So during this chat here, the question is, what if Allison were to get one of those crazy Saudi league offers, and what do we do then? Like, would you guys feel comfortable with Kelleher as our starting goalkeeper?
Yes.
Colin?
I'd be comfortable with it. I don't know that it would be my absolutely preferred, a preferred ideal situation. But if it had to happen, I'd feel fine with that.
And Drew, I saw you do. I see. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that I'm not like saying that Kelleher is on level of Cherries, but I just go back to that time when we couldn't like. Let me finish the thought process here because I'm definitely not making that comparison. But the idea of having goalkeepers.
How'd that name come out?
Because in a situation where it was Mingala and Karius, and like they just both kept trading back and forth mistakes, and it was just like we tried to put faith in Karius, and it just didn't work out. And I'm not saying I'd be very comfortable. I think Colin used a great word, comfortable with Kelleher starting. I just wouldn't want him to have I'd want a better backup option. I wouldn't want Adrian behind him, for example. Like if we had someone like a Fabianski, where I'm just like, okay, like if Kelleher gets injured or if he just like someone to ease the pressure off, you have like a seasoned goalkeeper who actually can put in a shift. And like if all hell broke loose, we'd have someone who could do the job. Like I'd be more than happy to give Kelleher the number 1 shirt to see what he can do and give him the chance to take it. But I would definitely want him to have some like pressure off his shoulders, knowing that like, okay, I have someone like Fabianski behind me to like guide me to like, I know that like there's a safe pair of hands that won't throw it into the back of the net like Adrian has in the past. Like,
I think we're being too harsh on Adrian there. I mean, listen, the guy came in. Okay, listen, I'm not saying Adrian's great, but like it's a backup goalkeeper. And he was third choice goalkeeper. We had like, Andy Lonergan was our third choice at one point. Like let's back off the Adrian. We did win the Super Cup with Adrian, and one of the reasons we won the league that year was because Adrian came in for those games and was part of the defense. Now, granted, he did kick some goals to Danny Ings. I know, Drew. I know. I'm not saying Adrian's a good goalkeeper, but he did come in and fill a role that you want your backup goalkeeper to do.
We had no one at that point. Becker got hurt on the kickoff. Callum Kelleher, I think, fell off a bike and broke a wrist or something like that, and Adrian was basically signed off the free agent scrap heap and found a home with us for the past 4 years.
Who's that American keeper that spoof in the YouTube, something Scott, who keeps getting beamed in the head with like a penalty kick?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, listen, I know why Drew thought of the Queven Kelleher and Loris Carey situation because he is 6'2". He's the exact same height as Loris Carey is, and if you look at their goal saving techniques, they're very similar. Like they're not big guys, so they try to get an early jump. I just think obviously the biggest difference is the fact that Karius got that concussion, sadly, and that just destroyed his confidence. And for a goalkeeper, confidence is everything. And he just was never able to do that as well. Wait, James, if Kelleher's not starting for Ireland, then who's the starting goalkeeper right now? I swear, I thought
former Man City kid, the one that's what's his name?
Because I saw it
capture Ireland. To Burnley.
Let's say, James, you can tell me who it is. I'll be
Bazzuno from Southampton, Gavin Bazzuno. He's formerly from Man City, I believe.
Who's the Republic of Ireland manager? Like, geez, like Kelleher's a much better goalkeeper than whoever that dude is.
There's not one national team manager who's made a mentally sound decision in
Bazzuno. Thank you, guys.
5 years. Every time I look at decisions made by national team managers, I'm like, oh, they're all idiots.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be talking about Ireland so much today without Steven here.
And Bazzuno actually beats him on age. Bazzuno's only 21.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I thought he was starting for Ireland. Maybe that's probably then Kelleher will probably push for a move faster, so he can be the starting goalkeeper ahead of Bazooka, whatever his name is.
Bazzuno.
No, listen. This is the Stars and Stripes and Anfield Nights. We're saying Bazooka. I'm mispronouncing everything confidently, and I'm just gonna come up with nicknames.
All right, quick question, non-footy related at all. Is bazooka gum available anywhere else besides the United States? And does anyone eat bazooka gum anymore?
There's no way it's available other places.
I still have it. Yeah, I still go get it. Yeah, bazooka bubble gum is still pretty good.
All right. I had to do a quick gauge of the panel here. All right, we're gonna skip over a couple of other topics, kind of dive into what our audience wants, and that would be a discussion as far as Julian Ward potentially making a return back to Liverpool. All right, Drew, thoughts on Julian potentially coming back? Good idea, bad idea?
Yeah, I don't see how anyone could think it's not a good idea, seeing as how many transfers that he brought in that just knocked it out of the park. Or actually, Julian Ward, I guess he took over from Edwards. Sorry, did the little reverse there, but I'd still say he did a good job. I think he took over well, and I think it was just unfortunate because that situation of why he left just seemed very unclear. And it seems, though, that correct me if I'm wrong, but he's going to be in a more advisory capacity. And the rumor is that Schmachta, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but he's going to extend his contract and work with us longer with Ward in an advisory capacity. So, but definitely, I think anybody who is involved with Liverpool transfers going back like the last 6-7 years under Klopp, I think you have to give credit where it's due. Like even back to like Firmino at times, I think we saw like the rumors coming out where Henderson and Milner's like contract extensions were not from the advisors or the transfer guys. So I think when you have that kind of people who are pushing for the club to, more of what we wanted to see and what we got in this window, a little bit on the too late side of things, but thankfully we did get a huge midfield rebuild. So I think anyone who like was involved in trying to push that narrative of refreshing earlier, bringing names in that significantly helped our squad, like it'd be great to have anyone with that kind of football nous that Julian Ward has. So I'm wondering if I should call it soccer nous on this stream for once, but I'll stick with football now.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's soccer now. It's soccer now.
We have to do it often enough. I'm not doing it. What about you, Colin? I have to do it like when explaining what I watch or what I like or what practice I'm taking my son to a lot of times here. But for the most part, I do try to refer to football as football or football for those Spanish-speaking folks in the audience. What about you guys? Do you guys try to, beyond obviously our LFC transfer room chat and talk and when we go on streams, a normal conversation, how do you refer to this beautiful game that we love?
So it's very dependent on who I'm having the conversation with. It's like it's very dependent on that. If it's with any of you guys or if it's anybody in the group, it's football. But with literally anyone else in my life, it's soccer. I just don't feel like explaining myself, for the extra, 5 minutes. Like, no, actually, what I meant was, soccer, football, not American football where you don't use your feet.
So what position does your kid play? Linebacker?
You're like, no, I don't want them to get CTE. Sorry. Yeah, no, anybody outside of the circle, the sphere of football in my life. It's
the circle of actual knowledge of what the game is supposed to be
correct.
called.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Drew? In conversation, what do you call this game?
Again, very much depends, like Colin said, but I'm always kind of like, I'm not going to go to Mexico or a Spanish speaking country and expect to speak English or be like, I'm going to say everything in English and expect you to follow suit. It's, if you're in America and, you're talking about football, like, call it soccer to avoid confusion, unless you're like with a bunch of Brits or a bunch of people who aren't from America. But as soon as you step across borders, you have no business saying soccer in England or Spain or anywhere else. So that's my kind of rule of thumb.
All right. What about you, Dan?
I code switch. It just depends. Like sometimes I say soccer, sometimes I say football. Even when I coach, I say both at the same time. Sometimes usually if I'm switching to Spanish, I'll say football. Like it's kind of like a key switch. My hand on football, I'll just say like football, and like start speaking Rafa Benitez with my hands. No, it just really depends on everything else. And not to sidetrack a little bit, but to agree with Drew a little bit earlier about Julian Ward. I think if Julian Ward comes back, I do think that's a good thing. I personally, again, I don't know what I think I was reading through the article that David Ornstein put where Edwards and Graham were doing their advisory board for like transfers. And I would like, and because Ward's not mentioned, it looks like he's probably in discussion to either become on as a consultant or as a sporting director. I'm personally fine with him as a consultant as well if they feel like, hey, let's just keep Jorg around because he's funny. Might as well. Like, listen, you might as well. Like at this point, like if anyone else can do the work and Jorg's just gonna make knock jokes, and we get to sign Ryan Gravenberch.
Jorg knows all the good nightclubs and where to get the party started.
Exactly. And there was another guy that was linked as well. I know Indy Kyla, again, whether or not you want to use Indy as a reliable source, mentioned Max Eberl, who was the director of sport at Borussia Mönchengladbach for years. And for those of you who don't know what players came out of Borussia Mönchengladbach when he was there, I'll give you some names. You tell me if they're good players or not. Marco Reus, Manu Kone,
yeah, he's good.
Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Marcus Thuram, and I can name the entire Borussia Mönchengladbach team for the past couple of years. There's Nico, what's his name? Nico Lentz, who's a left back who's under 20, who's also being talked like a 40 or 50 million pound deal as well. So he's also one they're probably looking at as well. I think it's interesting they're going for German directors of sport, which is interesting. Hey, I will have no slander on my man Jorg Schmatke here. This man swung for the fence many times and he missed a few times, but listen, I will have no slander on my boy Jorg.
Don't talk Schmatke about Schmatke.
Sometimes you just need people, around for the vibes, Like
exactly.
It's why we keep Adrian around. Like
exactly.
We don't. We're not
registering another vibes guy.
Listen, seriously, you sometimes, and I actually believe this. Like I'm kind of joking around, but also I do sort of believe. Sometimes you just need people around because you need them to they have good personalities and they make it a good place to be a professional and do good work regardless of whatever it is.
You need atmosphere. You need atmosphere. Just like Anfield during match day, you need a great atmosphere. You need a good atmosphere
it's why we have
Yeah, we don't need so many people sitting in the stands, recording with their phone. We put your phone down, just yell, don't just record everything on your phone. But my point about or my contribution to the whole sporting director debate is I have no idea I mean, truly, yes. Sometimes you just need people here for the vibes. Regardless of like what is true or like what is not true with Julian Ward, or if he's coming back, or whatever I would kill for a like 30 for 30 docu-series drama about what has gone on behind the scenes at the club the last 3 years.
It's probably not that interesting. It's probably
I wouldn't kill, but I'm pretty sure I'd pay a good amount of money for the like how the Amazon series does theirs from like 2017 all the way through now. It's like this huge ass collection.
I'm so interested in the business side of sport just generally, and so the like whole like sporting director, like carousel wheel of like just moving people through, like how there clearly is frustration about like the ownership's like financial structure to a certain, like I want to know all the dirty laundry about all of these people. Like I need to know. I would kill for a 30 for 30.
You just gotta wait long for Pep Linders to publish another book. That's
that book's pretty good. I actually really enjoy that book. Listen, Colin, I get what you mean, but I don't think it's really that interesting. Like I think at times we really think in like very Byzantine, like Wizard of Oz ways, the way Liverpool but how they run, I mean, they've always been very honest about how they do things. It's like, we have a structure. The head of scouting does this. The head of stats does this. The sporting director's job is this. Jurgen Klopp has the first and final word. Tom Warner is Mike Gordon is the direct line between FSG, as in John Henry and Tom Warner, and the club. So he's the one who's like, this is how much money we have to spend. This is how much money we're getting in. And they know this all the time. Right. Like, I think at times we're really over traumatizing because we just don't know. Like, the more you don't know something, the more like amazing it is. It's like
there's so many facets.
I have to know.
Like we have all these ideas what aliens look like, but imagine if aliens came down and was just a bunch of hamsters and they just spoke in like chirps, and you'd be like,
No, I would still want to know how the hamster piloted the ship. Like, I still want to know. I still
big hamster wheels, man. Like, what do you mean you want to know? Like, you can go see. It's just
their ships look like asteroids, so when they crash, it's very innocuous.
Yeah. We're not doing Star Stripes and conspiracy nights here.
I mean, a true facet of the American experience.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Well, I mean, over here we basically have had the authorities confirm that there is, other life forms out there, and we do have evidence and captured on video by naval, planes, etc. And we were like concerned what's happening with Trump, or what's happening with this, or what's happening with that, and it kind of just got blown.
Yeah. I don't know. The instant the government confirms something's real makes me suspicious, because I'm like, why are you telling me this now? Like, it's like, why is this coming out now? What else is going on that I'm not looking at?
The world's burning. Like, oh yeah, there's aliens.
Yeah, it's like, bro, climate change is real. Taxes are too high. My wage has been frozen. Like, we just, like, it's like, oh, but aliens are real. It's like, well, thanks, bro. That's what I don't care anymore at this point.
Rigo Jones.
I love that. Rigo, you have to get a show now.
I'm going to start pushing vitamins and diet pills shortly.
Money, brother.
Filter the money back.
So kind of to steer it back to Julian Ward. We know from all reports he basically got everything set up for the Alexis McAllister deal before he stepped away, right? So that one's not even on Big York. Then the following signing was Dominic Szoboszlai, which was the RC, which again took a matter of a couple of days to kind of iron out, and I'm sure he was on our list preceding York plenty. Next deal, Ryan Gravenberch. That one did have to take some negotiating, but they're saying that Julian Ward has been around since August, kind of helping and assisting with these deals. So how much work did York do?
This is why I want to know. Like, I legitimately, like, where's the like division of labor? Like, who does what, and like who didn't do what? Like I need to know all of these things, and I want a docudrama about who is actually doing the work and who hasn't been. Drew, can
So,
you write
Drew,
this for us?
Yeah, I'll
Your
say,
move.
Drew, you're writing this down, man. Actually, Drew, I'm interested in what you think about this, man, because I have my own thoughts about this. But what do you think, man?
What, big hamsters or schmacked?
Hey, listen, all of it, man. Just contribute. Like, I'm just throwing ideas out there.
Yeah, it was definitely his. It was odd because it was so against what we normally do, where you don't hear about. Like, I guess Soboslai was, it started out very much in line of how we normally operate, where it's like no news. Next thing you know, we have a player signed, sealed, and delivered, and then it just stalled after that. And I guess Endo was one of those again to come back from it, but like the Gravenberch ones, that was someone we've been. Rigo, you're muted. But we were linked with him all summer, and it just seemed like I guess there was the rumors of maybe we were waiting for Tchouaméni or Valverde or something like that with Real Madrid if they needed to offload if they got Kylian Mbappe. But it the Caicedo deal in particular, that was just fumbled so poorly, and I don't barring Carvalho's last second, F up on deadline day in the January transfer window. I don't remember us effing up so badly on a transfer as we did with Caicedo. And I know that wasn't entirely up to us, but it just almost the sleek, smooth, behind the scenes operations of Michael Edwards, Julian Ward just seemed to be out the window with George.
But not just Caicedo, but obviously Romeo Lavia as well. 14 weeks of a back and forth. Oh, we offered $3 more. They still rejected it, so we're going to come back with another offer.
It was all in the news, minus
Yeah.
the transfer fee, what was it? Both McAllister, Soboslai, they both had, what was it? A buyout clause, a release clause. So, that isn't, that's easy to get done very quickly because there's no negotiations or hiccups. Every, Caicedo and Lavia, as, Rico pointed out, it's that was in the news, or at least Lavia was. That was in the news for so long, Gravenberch, etc. And not kind of got used to the style of Liverpool operating behind the scenes and just pulling out absolute gems.
So I have a theory about that whole summer because I think our memory is playing tricks on us. The only transfer that got leaked really that was never done was Lavia's. And I think based on how that deal went, I think that was leaked from his agents, similar to how Caicedo was as well. I think Schmatka, going back to what he originally said, what his job mostly is building the relationships with the agents, with the representatives of the players, and kind of connecting them with Liverpool, kind of working through them to make a deal, because that's usually what you do. So Soboslai, they go find the release clause. No one really was talking about Dominik Soboslai. No one was saying in the news Soboslai's release clause is XYZ. They had to go look for it and find it through his representatives. Wataru Endo is a Schmatka signing. Jörg Schmatka took that big swing on Moises Caicedo because they all looked at each other and said, hey, let's try and do this deal. And that deal, if Caicedo signs, that's the most Liverpool deal of all time, where Chelsea are moseying along. It's the Luis Diaz deal. Luis Diaz.
That's why it felt so great that night. I was like, this is what we do.
Yeah, so I think Lavia's leaks from his from all intents and purposes, it looks like it either came from Southampton or for his agent to try and drum up the transfer fee, because Liverpool don't make bids for players that are going to get rejected. So someone is telling them that this bid is going to get accepted, and then it's the reported price is 50 million, go to 50 million. Liverpool just don't go through the effort of preparing all the documentation for a bid just for it to be rejected if they have no word that it's probably going to be accepted. I know we talk about they try to undercut the price in many ways, but if they say, listen, we're going to bid 41 million, and their representatives say, yeah, they'll accept it, and they don't accept it, then obviously some things get misconstrued as well. And I think with Gravenberch, going back to what Jonathan Norcroft said at the beginning with the Times, the three players who wanted to sign this summer, McAllister, Mount, Gravenberch, I believe Ward came back to help with the Gravenberch transfer. I think that's what he actually came back to do, because he probably made those connections with his family, with his father, and everything. So they brought Ward back on to say, hey, Julian, come in and help us get this transfer over the line, because he had that previous relationship. And if one thing we know about Julian Ward is he makes really good connections with players and the representatives. I mean, that's all my thoughts on the situation. I think Schmatka, I think I said this during transfer deadline day, I think he did as good as he could have been asked to do. If you don't sell Hendo and Fabinho, I think we signed the same players we do, minus probably Wataru Endo. I think we say that's a 3 players for a Jude Bellingham is a pretty good deal. But obviously the letdown is that you sell Fabinho, even though this is now Fabinho who can't run, and Jordan Henderson, which everyone calls him Hoofball Man. So you sell Hoofball Man and you sign Dominic Soboslai and Ryan Gravenberch, Wataru Endo, and I know. Listen, Rigo, I love Henderson too, man, but I've had to listen to your slander for so long. I feel like you were a disappointed dad watching his child get bad at a sport you love. But yeah, no, I think he did as good as he probably could have been asked to do, considering what pressure there was on to sign players.
And you come in as a consultant to any business, and obviously a short-term consulting, basically 3 months. You're really not gonna light the world on fire. First of all, you're not gonna have the full confidence of the people that hired you just to take your word for it and offer you whatever amount of money you're looking to spend. And again, you're kind of learning who you're working with at the same time, trying to build those relationships and get transfers moving on the exterior. So I'd probably agree with you there, Dan. He did as best as he could, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have as much responsibility as we're probably thinking he was given. It was more, again, advisory and helping guide or put together a good list for Klopp as far as the rebuild is concerned. A couple of questions I want to hit up from the comments here. We're probably going to take it up to 1 hour and then wrap it up. As you all know, we're here on American time, and we do have jobs tomorrow. All right, question from Paul. Do you guys think that Liverpool is now happy with what has happened, that the Caicedo deal has fallen through? I.e., are we happy, instead of spending all that money for Caicedo, that we got who we got currently?
I don't know that we're happy. I think kind of being exposed in that way in the media in regards to the dealings that you're doing on the business side is like not very flattering, frankly. So my point that I was going to make about about the Jorg point is that I think it becomes really, really difficult to do that job if everybody knows that you're deeply desperate for people. Like, I think that makes doing it, like doing that job, like next to impossible, frankly. And there's nobody at fault except ourselves there in those, for that. We didn't buy people when we should have in previous years. And that led us to the point where, we couldn't say no to the money that was offered for specifically for Fabinho, but also for Henderson, basically saying that he wants out. So, and that makes the job hard. Like that's a really difficult thing to do, to recruit people at a reasonable budget when everyone knows that they can exploit you.
Exactly. You're walking through the desert, as we were these past couple of seasons with that midfield.
Yeah.
And you run across someone who has water to sell. They're not going to give it to you at the cheapest price.
They're going to take your arm.
Yeah. So that's basically, as you said, the hand that he was dealt. And like Jay Muse says, like playing poker, it's telling your hand. So yeah, you
got to be proactive. Got to be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, for sure, especially in this transfer market, and as we've seen these not just wages, but fees skyrocket. Another comment here, and this one is from Red, White, and Red. Hot take: not getting a Destroyer 6 is the best thing that happened this summer. Tactics have been adjusted, and we have the second best defensive record in the league, with McAllister at the 6. With considering that we've gotten 2 red cards in these 4 matches. Mr. Ross.
I think it's a bit early doors to tell on this. I'm curious to see how much Endo will feature moving forward. But I agree with you. We kind of it's like almost creative expression where we have creative constraints now where we don't have that destroyer that we brought in other than like an Endo as a traditional six, especially with Basetic being not ready as well. So it's like we've literally thrown together this like midfield to get through these first 4 games, and 10 points is not bad. So I think, but I don't think you want to be doing that all season. So I'm curious to see how we move forward. Again, how much we play Endo. If Gravenberch comes in, because I think that will be the really interesting one, especially with the South American players coming back for Wolves this weekend. They're probably not going to start. So that, McAllister won't be in there most likely, at least in the starting midfield. So we could possibly see a midfield of like a Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and I don't know if he's going to go with Endo or if he's going to go with Jones. There's a lot of options, so I'm curious to see who we play against Wolves, because that will be very exciting in a game we have to win to build that momentum and keep the momentum going. But I'm not like, I can see what you're saying, but I'm not sure that's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like the last 8-10 games of last season where we just fit Trent into that inverse role, and it worked out. They were dead rubber games, but will that work the entire season? I don't like. Maybe that's what we do. I'm not sure. Like, I like your optimism.
I think we're again, we're without that number one Fabinho type. We have players who can do a bunch of different stuff on a very good basis. So they're way more interchangeable than what we have had in the past. So I think that's probably the tactic that they're going with. That all these guys can play defense if needed, are pretty intelligent players as far as knowing where to be and how to react to situations. So perhaps that's the way they're going, especially with this market. How, again, for a 6, you're paying over £100 million. That's frankly unheard of. You pay for goals or stopping. I don't know. It's a lot to me. I feel like you're going to say something, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I am. So my cat is one of my cats, Niall. We call him Nunu. He's just standing there in the doorway looking at me, all cute and stuff. But he's respectful. He's not really a cat. He's actually just a raccoon that just pretends to be a cat. Well, someone posted this. I think it's the most important. So I don't think it's a hot take, because I think Liverpool. So what Endo's the destroyer. This is what they say. This is what they think behind the scenes. They see Wataru Endo as the specialist destroyer. The glory thing about Fabinho was that he was both a destroyer and he was a creator. And it was his best games is when he was doing the creative stuff as well as the destroying stuff as well. I know what you mean by the 2 red cards, Vigo, but I feel like you're kind of like misleading the public here, because that first red card was on McAllister. It shouldn't have been a red card, so it wasn't even his fault, really. He was doing the job he was supposed to.
No, what I'm saying, our record is defensively is pretty darn good, considering we've lost a player in 2 matches.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know this has been argued in the chat that red card on Virgil is because we don't have a 6 who's screening the pass that bisects the midfield into Isaac. And listen, I get it, because Endo's slow on blocking it, so he didn't read it. He was slow to block the pass to Isaac running behind him. That's because it's his second game for Liverpool. I think if I think of Henderson, Fabinho, or any players in that position, they probably missed that too, and you should probably still get a similar result. Again, it's all speculation. I do think that with buying Endo and buying Gravenberch especially, we have a much more fluid midfield, but what makes the defense work is the pressing. That is where the defense comes from. That's where this Liverpool team plays. It is all in the pressing, and it's all in that versatility. If you don't have the pressing, the system doesn't work. That's what happened last year. The problem last year wasn't the players were just suddenly bad and forgot to play football. It's because they couldn't run anymore, and they couldn't press. Yeah. And when you can't press, teams like Fulham look like Barcelona like 2015. Like Alexander Mitrovic is out running the entire team. Like, that's what happens when you can't press and your legs fall off. I will say, though, I think the best revelation, though, of the midfield is no one's been mentioned so far. It's the big Dom himself. It's the handsome Hungarian, the magnificent Magyar, I mean, it's Dominic Szoboszlai. Like, he's the one that has changed that complete midfield. Like McAllister's brilliant. I love Endo. Gravenberch is going to be a revelation. But, like, Szoboszlai, the man is ridiculous. Like, I'm in love. I'm in love with Szoboszlai. I'm with somebody who loves me, and it's Dominic Szoboszlai. And I'm just in love with this man. He's so good. Like, I'm just telling you so much. He's just so good. He does the running of, like, 5 players. He's prime Henderson, but with better ball striking. Like, that's like one of the best players in the world.
Did you see his 80-yard strike?
Yeah.
From his own penalty box all the way across town.
God, that was insane.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. And, you know, I think the reason not having a defender 6 is less of an issue is just how much defensive work that Szoboszlai and them are doing just by, like, running around. And Dominic Szoboszlai's like, yeah, I love to run. I keep running. He's saying, you know, he's literally saying in press conferences, it's like, yeah, we can beat Man City. We can win the league. You know, this man's literally just going around just saying stuff.
He's, like, so confident, but, again, it's confidence based on his actual ability and his hunger to win and be competitive. Like,
but
he is one hungry son of a gun, man. And coming in first at the lactate test, he's going to be on everyone's behind as far as putting in what maximum effort and putting in everything for the team. And I'm sorry, but that to me is better than whatever Henderson was offering for a number of years. I am very sorry to say that. You could talk a little bit. You could talk a lot, you know, but are you backing it up on the pitch? And he's absolutely backing it up.
Henderson was a very good player for us years. I understand that he's not this player he was. And listen, I have no problem saying that Dominic Szoboszlai is a way better player than Jordan Henderson ever was for Liverpool. I'm a massive fan, and I can admit that because I've watched ball. We know ball, generally speaking. And the thing is, and the reason why I think it's so encouraging that Dominic Szoboszlai says this, he would not say we're going to win the league and we can beat City if he didn't see the players around him and said, oh, yeah, they're good. Like, Jota, literally the first preseason game was like, oh, yeah, these guys are good. Like you can just see it on their faces. They're like Klopp's face. Like, Klopp was like, these guys are good. I can win with these guys. Like, he's just – it's like a boy at Christmas. He's just so happy, like, with his massive face and everything.
Yeah, it's a completely night and day. Someone actually tracking back from the right center mid position to cut out attacks, and it's just been awesome. Long may it continue. And as he was quick to note at his presser, his Hungarian national team is undefeated, 8-0 since he's been made captain. So keep bringing those winning vibes over. Just very excited for what he's yet to accomplish in the Liverpool kits. All right, let's check real quick before we call it a night. And thank you guys so much for staying for that full hour with us. Jay Muse, Red, White, and Red. Who else? Ben Hughes jumped on. Who else is on here? Sadie John. Vase of Flowers. Pretty sure that's not your name, but pretty cool name. Thank you guys so much for hopping along. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But I'm sure all you guys already have liked and subscribed because you guys are awesome. One thing before we do wrap, and I just wanted to touch on it just because it is something that gets me super excited about our current squad, and that is the freaking pressing. That match against Aston Villa was a throwback match to 2018-2019 where we were just absolutely suffocating teams before they could come out from their side of the pitch, and we were just getting the ball back or getting our feet on balls so often. Darwin Nunez, I thought, was supremely excellent in pressing from the front, in combination with Lucho Diaz and Salah. I think their chemistry in the press is getting much, much better. Curtis Jones off injury came in, was really good. So Szoboszlai, as we've mentioned, just indefatigable. I think that's a word. Correct me if I'm wrong, teachers on the panel here. And just supremely awesome. I just wanted to call that out. I'm just super excited for that. That gets me going more than offensive football when our defense is just on it. All right, rant done. And also done is this live stream. So, any closing thoughts? I'll go clockwise from the top right corner. The man in darkness, Mr. Drew Alexander Ross.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to push the time. It's still sunset out here on the West Coast, but tracking back, I think Jamie's talking about how we went a full hour, not complaining about times. I will wrap mine off with it's going to be a bright and early 4:30 a.m. this weekend for the Wolves game for me, which fingers crossed. I know it's 12:30 a.m. for UK, and that's we don't particularly do well for those, but hoping this season's different. I'm gonna wake up at 4:30 and love chatting with you guys, and I hope all this positivity comes into this weekend and we get the win and keep on rolling through with Wolves with our next victim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bright and early, 4:30 a.m. start for Drew. For Dan, Colin, and myself, we're here on the East Coast, so 7:30 for us. Dan, closing thoughts.
My closing thoughts are I know I've been like aggressively like calm and pretty optimistic this whole summer. It's just been with the quality of players we brought in.
Aggressively calm. I like that.
I've been aggressively calm. I've been telling everyone to like I'm being Onana. Calm down, everyone. Calm down. We just went 1-0 up and now we're 1-1. Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, it's really optimistic. I think what we need to take a step back from and look at this Liverpool season as a whole is that, we have another set of games for the October international break. Honestly, as long as we keep the unbeaten streak going on, that's the number one key. I know we want to go win at Wolves, and I think we should go win at Wolves for all intents and purposes, but it's more about building up that head of steam. And as long as we can do that, we'll challenge for the league. And if we can challenge the league, we'll get Champions League. And that should be the goal this year. Let's challenge for the league. Let's dream a bit. The Europa League is going to be time we can rotate players out. We don't need to risk players. When we are at our best, when Klopp is rotating and being inventive. We are not at our best when he's like, all right, these are my 12 players, and I will go with that as well. Yeah, exactly. And to rate the midfields right now, like bottom to best, I think Chelsea's is the bottom. Liverpool is second. I would say Arsenal is technically probably the best midfield just because if you say Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, that's a really, really good midfield. Even though I bang on about how good Liverpool's midfield is, I think Arsenal's just slightly better just because of Declan Rice, even though I'm someone who criminally criticizes Declan Rice all the time. I do think Arsenal have a slightly better midfield at the moment, but ours is much deeper, and I love ours more because we don't have Kai Havertz, who forgot how to kick a football after 3 years at Chelsea.
Cobra Kai, that was short-lived. Already wishing they never brought him over from Stamford Bridge. Closing thoughts, Colin.
I'm really excited. I was thinking about just the combinations of midfielders that we can play for like Europa League game, like a game against Lask. We're going to start like Elliott, Gravenberch, and Endo, like literally throw Jones, throw in anybody there, right? And that midfield, any one of those midfielders is the best midfielder on any of our group's midfields, easily. And like just to get to see some of them work and like really, because like there's nobody really holding us down, I don't think anymore. Nobody who's really like dragging us back. And I'm so excited to see. We don't necessarily want to play Europa League, but I'm really seeing like positives from being able to play it this year, which is like these guys are going to get to cut their teeth and they're going to get minutes, and they should absolutely show up and show everything they've got. And I'm thrilled. I can't wait.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if you guys caught the highlights of Ben Doak and the destruction he was trying to unleash on the Spain under-21 team. Like,
he's spicy.
Just a badass. Just a little tiny little MFer. I just love it. Just the aggressiveness.
Love it.
Anywho, for my closing thoughts, I just think this is an awesome opportunity for us here on the LSU Transfer Room channel to broadcast to folks who might not get the opportunity to watch a 2:30 p.m. Eastern live stream here in the United States. So definitely excited for this. This works better for me on a family schedule, on a work schedule also. I'm sure all around, probably less for Drew just because he obviously is on West Coast time. Our own Drew Matoma. But yeah, just super excited for this and having the conversation and the engagement with our fellow Liverpool supporters. But apart from that, I'm just excited for how the season's going to play out. Injuries permitting, I think we have a real good shot of contending for that Premier League title and making things spicy for the purported top of the table leaders in Arsenal and Man City. So I hope we get 3 points on the weekend. It'd be very interesting, the lineup that Klopp throws out there, considering the travel for our international players. But yeah, exciting times. Just pray for health, and Klopp will lead us to the promised land. So for myself, Rigo, Drew, Dan, and Colin, thank you all for joining. Make sure to hit like and subscribe before you close this window. Have a great night, and you'll never walk alone.